everybody. Is this the first time you're here in a space like this with me on stage? There's a thumb rule that we don't start till we get a resounding start to the event. So, good afternoon, everybody. We'll try it one more time. That's so much better, especially after the pandemic times when so much of it has been online. I think it's so nice to be back in rooms with people and energy. A very good afternoon once again to all of you. I'm Shreya Krishnan. I'm going to be hosting you through the next couple of days. I hope all of you are doing well. All of you have had big breakfasts and teas and coffees in and enough caffeine in the system to kick this off. On behalf of DSCI, I extend a very warm and a very cordial welcome to all our esteemed guests, delegates, speakers, sponsors, exhibitors, and partners to the 5th edition of Financial Security Conclave 2023, also known as FINSEC 2023. We're extremely glad and equally excited to be able to host FINSEC 2023 in an in-person mode after 2 years of virtual editions due to the pandemic. As a humble request, can we all get our phones out and move them to the silent mode? Any other communication devices on you? This is something we've forgotten to do offline. DSAI has been collaborating with esteemed banking and financial service institutions for several years. With the financial sector's increasing digitization and the rise of complex cyber threats, there was a need for leaders from the banking industry and security sector to come together on a unified platform. Going forward, the 5th edition of FinSec 2023 would endeavor to reflect upon the growth trajectory of country's financial sector and critically examine security and privacy concerns associated with the current and possibly the future digitization context. These 2 days of FinSec 2023 is hosting 70-plus speakers and 30-plus sessions, including plenaries, keynotes, parallel tracks, workshops, and panel discussions that will cover key areas such as FinCloud, cyber resilience for financial infrastructure, cyber insurance and ESG, ransomware, preparedness and response, globalized financial crimes and frauds, cloud-native AppSec decentralized finance, future of digital identities, modeling authentication and authorization, payment supply chain, securing M-banking, data-driven finance, data strategies for BFSI, and C-suite cyber vision. Now, if that isn't a whole lot of content, what else is? Day 1 of FinSec 2023 officially commenced at 10 a.m. today with an industry-driven workshop by Palo Alto and Deloitte, and parallelly launched the banking guide as part of sectoral privacy project with a workshop on protecting the privacy of customer data in banking services. With this, I once again welcome you all to FinSec 2023 and hope that all of you leverage this to the maximum of the value that it can give you all. I'm going to request you all to remember a few things as we go through the course of today. Keep sharing your experiences using the official hashtag FinSec2023. That's the social media tag. And also tag @DSCI_Connect on Twitter. Connect with your peers, security and privacy enthusiasts 101 in the networking zone. Visit our exhibitors' booths to know latest technologies, service offerings, and innovative solutions that have been put together and curated. Information on sessions, schedules, speakers, and networking is available on the official website. That is www.dsci.in/events/FinSecConclave2023. You can also scan the QR codes available outside every hall to download the detailed agenda. We would also like to sincerely thank all of our sponsors, partners, and exhibitors for their continued support, and all of our speakers who've flown in from different parts of the world and country to be joining us here today. Participate in the contest by AdWebTech, OneSpan at our booth number 6, win exciting prizes there. Our supply chain intelligence partner, CloudSec, is booth number 18 and 19, so make sure you go there and visit them as well. All breaks are sponsored by secure messaging and collaboration partner, NetZif. Okay, so the day is all set and the time has come to officially inaugurate the conference. We are honored to be hosting FinSec 2023 in the financial capital of India and be joined by numerous esteemed thought leaders, influential figures, policymakers, practitioners, knowledge seekers, and contributors from the financial industry and government sectors. This gathering truly represents the comprehensive extent fintech ecosystem, encompassing its various dimensions and stakeholders. We'd like to extend a heartfelt welcome to, again, the delegate speakers, sponsors, exhibitors, and partners who've traveled here to be part of this significant event. It's your presence and support that has made this summit a reality, and we express our deepest gratitude for your invaluable contributions. Please get comfortable as we commence the inaugural session. We're delighted to welcome Mr. Vinayak Godse, Chief Executive Officer, DSCI, to officially inaugurate FINSEC 2023. Welcoming you, Vinayak. The stage is all yours.
Thank you for good introduction of a financial security conclave. And as this is a fifth version, we had been doing this for last 4 or 5 years of time, but more like a small event, small gathering, small content, basically limited content. But this year we thought about, because all of you probably know about annual security summit that we do in Delhi, right, which is one of the largest critical gathering of industry in cybersecurity space. So we thought, like, the security has come to such an inflection point, right, where until now it is to be defend of, it is to be protection of, but now security is increasingly discussed in the context of the possibility, basically. So more you think about security, more possibility you talk about, thought about possibility. Security is the area now which can really help you to realize those possibilities, basically. And that's what that thinking has gone in terms of designing this conference in such a way that we cover more content, more speaker coming here, more experiences that we try to bring into here, more type of the work that basically we need to bring it together as a part of this financial security conclave, where it gives justice to individual sectors in my BFSI sector, financial sector, basically like insurance, banking, capital sector organization, and then see that we carry this nuance kind of a discussion. So DSCI is, most of the event that DSCI does and organize is more like a dialogue, basically. So if you look at the kind of thing that we do and been doing as a part of the Data Security Council of India, is bringing people together to discuss about what is happening in their organization, what is happening, basically, the work that you have been doing in cybersecurity space in their own organization, what a challenge they're facing, basically, and reveal that and learn from that. Because we one thing which we basically realize at the Data Security Council of India, and we have been really with the leadership of the security leadership of this country, is security is more like a collective kind of understanding, basically, right? So we have to all collectively understand the subject of security, because the nuances are becoming more and more complex to really deal with, basically. So the security used to be deliberated or discussed in the context of only 3 simple concepts, confidential, integrity, and availability. But now there are so many disciplines of security that are evolving and that are emerging in the recent past, basically, right? And that's why understanding, and then there are millions of things could go well, but there is one instance that will create a larger challenge for you, basically, right? So that's why collective understanding is very important, and collective understanding has to be within the organization, across the sector, and more importantly, within the cross sectors as well, actually. So that's the where the security is coming, and that's why usually we talk about this collective understanding is not now limited to organization, limited to the sector. It's also require a lot of those elements which goes out of your own control, basically. So many aspects of security, and that's why we call it cybersecurity, is going beyond organization's own control, basically. So a lot of effort that you need to see at a national level. That's what we have been seeing across the globe. People have been putting together strategies for security, right? So we hear about all of that, and we also have been seeing that government of India is also trying to organize national cyber security, because security is now, cybersecurity is becoming, being established as a 5th domain of national security, basically. So a lot of structures we embed at a national level in terms of one is to this entire health of the cyberspace of the country, and more importantly, health of the global cyberspace basically depends on how do you organize security at national level, basically. And a lot of those capabilities are being put together, and those capabilities can be leveraged by individual organization. So the overall, the collective understanding and collective work is basically you leverage from those capabilities, basically, right? So for example, a lot of things which is being done at a national security level in terms of strategy, in terms of the, we have this certain NCIPC, a lot of effort that government of India pushed together, and now in recent past, we have seen that government of India is even trying to come to the level where architectural interventions are put together to digitize this economy, basically. So starting with Aadhaar, then UPI. So what it really actually done, and when we talked about that in the morning, basically, entire digitization story. I mean, there are definitely 3 key stories led by US, led by China, and led by European Union, which is more end-user right-specific story. But our story is more architecture intervention-driven story. And that's why we say that all these interfaces that we created, like a Aadhaar, like a UPI basically, it's a kind of architectural intervention supported by institutional arrangement and governance arrangement and policy ecosystem basically, right? And that's why we could able to bring this entire ecosystem from the very high value, low volume to the low value, high volume kind of transaction ecosystem, and that is being witnessed by almost 10 billion transaction, number of transactions we are processing per month basis basically. No country can come close to us. So this intervention that we brought as a part of, and that's why we say this as a digital public infrastructure, a public infrastructure, because that has created a lot of this possibility, the scale, volume, one hand. At the other side, democratization, participation as well. So we have somebody like Google helping us to initiate transaction, somebody like Paytm doing that, somebody small fintech company coming and being part of the transaction processing ecosystem. So the digitization means like unbundling of this transaction processing, right? A lot of third-party interfaces, a lot of big companies, a lot of big capabilities basically coming together to help you execute the transaction. And because of this democratization participation, we see this volume growing. We see this scale coming into the digitization story basically. And when this is happening, and this is a story of India basically, of a digitization, and then if you have followed the G20 messaging well, this story we are taking to the global platform basically. All the discussion of G20 basically, we are telling world that this is way that you can really try to digitize your economy. And this way is very scalable, it's very participatory, it's a democratized way basically, which is also fueling a lot of innovation as well. So we see significant innovations coming in fintech side basically because of this kind of effort that we are putting together. We reduce down the barrier of entering into this transaction ecosystem basically. And now with this conference, we are replicating that in other sectors like agriculture, like health sector, many other sectors as well. And when we are doing that, we know that digitization, especially in the financial sector, basically, in insurance, in banking sector, many other sectors, basically. So this digitization, because of this ecosystem that we try to build, so one is certainly, because there is a national infrastructure, so there is definitely a lot of thinking goes in terms of how to secure that. And fortunately, what happens with Data Security Council of India, our membership ecosystem, very dominant in financial, banking sector, insurance sector, but nowadays somebody like UIDA, somebody like NPCI also DSS member, and we get a chance to deliberate with them, how can we make sure that these kind of infrastructure are secure basically. What kind of plan we should put together, what kind of innovation that we should be put together basically. How can we help govern this better, how can we help regulate this better basically. Because regulation, what we see now as we stand up, and that's what deliberation which is coming in, regulation at this point of time is largely limited to audit basically. But the volume and scale doesn't really go that way that you can capture or probably regulate the things just by doing the kind of a one audit per quarter kind of basis basically. So how can we improve any of this ecosystem in terms of helping with these kind of innovations happening in very different area basically. And as you know, all that so entire this FinSec that we have been trying to craft together. So the kind of sessions that you will see, and we have been happening since morning basically. So we always start with these deep down workshops, talking about different areas of security, going deep down into that basically. We always start with something very futuristic in nature basically, because we started with quantum computing and why we should be all prepared for the quantum computing to start with. Tomorrow morning we'll be also discussing about the generative AI basically, right? That will be definitely discussed as a part of this, but very focused discussion on generative AI and financial sector ecosystem basically. And then there are very different sessions talking about different sector, talking about different evaluation that we see in the financial sector, and those sessions would be trying to bring people together to deliberate very intensely about what is happening in country, across globe basically, in the innovation ecosystem, in the scale, in the experimentation that we'll be doing for the financial sector. We also see, and we are also seeing that the data protection regulation is just on the way. Government has given commitment to the Supreme Court that by August they will be having the law in the place. We hope that will be coming in the monsoon session, and that will probably change the way things would happen in the financial sector, because it is creating a lot of interesting liabilities and obligations, at the same time creating a lot of scope for balancing digitization goal and innovation goal with respect to the privacy requirements basically. And then that will add a lot of good interesting chapters for the security and privacy profession. But what I am really willing to say and discuss here is basically So security is a lot of those micro contexts, micro aspects, micro element basically. A lot of those kind of things that is happening at organizational level, at an individual domain level, at a network level, application level. A lot of those elements this needs to be taken care of. And when we are taking care of that, there are definitely use cases which are very specific to us. But solving those use cases may not be a very localized problem. It can be solved at a platform level. It can be solved as a cloud level basically. It can be solved at a very platform level as well. So for example, there could be some solution which could come which may not be very specific to that organization, basically. So the challenges and problems can be solved at some small micro level, or it can be solved at a very platform level, network level, or a global cloud level kind of ecosystem as well, which we'll be deliberating as a part of this today's interaction. But security is also larger, bigger context. The context which is being shaped because of the geopolitical ecosystem that we see wherein India is basically, right? So for that matter, you must be hearing about some alliances that are getting formed. So there is a Quad alliance, some of you must be knowing about. Quad alliance is an alliance of India, US, Australia, and Japan basically. So these 4 countries are coming together to discuss about what could be our strategy basically, to look at the supply chain issues and look at how can we really try to create some alternate, because there is definitely dependency on one country and we are seeing the challenges of that, and Quad Alliance is trying to put together impetus on critical technology and cybersecurity quite significantly. So it's a larger, bigger context basically. We are seeing the way targeted attacks are happening on a financial sector, on a different sectors. For example, there was a very targeted attack on a airport infrastructure. So there's a definitely targeted attack on pharma sector some time back. It could happen in banking sector as well, and it's happening as well actually, right? So when this is happening, so individual bank, individual sector may not be in position to really solve that, right? And that's why national effort, national capability becomes very important, and that's where we see a lot of machineries coming in. So while we look at bottom up, we also need to understand what is happening at a top level, at a strategy level, basically. We probably will have national strategy shortly coming in. That's the commitment government is also giving, that probably, which we have been waiting from 2020, the national security, cybersecurity strategy will probably come in 2 to 3 months of time. Basically, that's what the government talk about. So at a national level, we see a lot of those discussion deliberations are happening. We are trying to, even last year, some of you must be aware about that, we did this kind of a national cyber simulation exercise. So what will happen if something go wrong, which will be impacting each and every sector? So a lot of those scenarios we are depicting and see how things could really emerge. For example, if suddenly internet got cut for us, so how many number of transactions that we could able to process domestically, basically. So what is dependency on that, basically? If some kind of a big, large attack happen on a country from ransomware perspective, impacting each and every sector, basically. So what will be our national response for that, basically? So a lot of those efforts and those thinking which is going on, a lot of those thinking and efforts that we are talking about is also leading to a situation where a lot of those new use cases and ideas will come together, right? So one is digitization that we talk about, DPI, we talk about digitization plan of individual sector. We also talk about the emerging technology which is playing a role. For example, we are seeing in financial sector, every system, like we talk about information or Internet of Things, basically. We will see that the things, there will be finance of things, basically, right? Everything or every system, there will be finances embedded into that, basically. And kind of things which will happening in hardware side, in mobility side, the ability of this hardware and mobile in terms of participating in a transaction processing basically side, there will be a lot of those things which will be coming from the emerging technology at a drone level, at a semiconductor level, at a system like robotics level. So how do you embed the finance in each of those things basically, and what kind of challenges will create for security there basically? So for example, we talk about security of OT, IoT, SCADA environment. But there is a security at hardware level, basically. We have taken some initiative at the Data Security Council of India side to engage with a researcher in university like IIT Kharagpur, IIT Madras. We set up a kind of initiative which is hardware security initiative. And some of you must be doing, there's a national center of excellence that we set up with the support from the government to look at the technology and product ecosystem in the country and also research in cybersecurity space, basically, right? And this center has been now able to see the innovation happening in cybersecurity space. So there are lot of kind of startups that we are seeing coming in cybersecurity space. In fact, cybersecurity, we are seeing that it's an animal spirit that we witness every month. Every month, we are trying to do a kind of innovation, incubation round, and we come across 6 to 7 new companies coming in cybersecurity space. There are almost 300 plus cybersecurity company in the country, and some of them are solving problems of the financial sector. And tomorrow in the innovation box in the evening, we are trying to see those innovations which are trying to solve financial sector problems, basically. There is a national COE pavilion which has set up, which you will see the early stage startups, how they are solving security problems as well. Across each and every critical emerging security technology, we have startups in India. We discuss in the morning quantum computing. There are already some 8 to 9 startups which are solving problem which is coming from the quantum computing perspective actually. So the security throws a lot of these opportunities, and we know that India's overall cybersecurity industry stands around $17 billion as of now, and it will grow quite significantly in some coming future. And financial sector will become a very important market or buyer of those technology capabilities and services in cybersecurity space, basically. That's why we are saying, how can we make a plan, which is important plan for all of us to sit together and solve those problems. As a security professional that we all are, we are solving our day-to-day problem, but there are a lot of larger things that we can solve. The things are emerging technology which is coming in, which we call as a technology decade we talk about. So it throws a lot of challenges, but it throws a lot of opportunities as well. We talk about larger digitization plan, we talk about digital payment infrastructure, we talk about digitization of the financial sector, we talk about entire open ecosystem that we are into. So a lot of those challenges, we have to probably come out of the existing work, day-to-day work we have been doing, and see how can we contribute. We are leveraging from that, but how can we contribute? For example, if there is a startup, how can we help with the use case? How can we validate the solutions, basically? Can we help the researchers as well to understand what industry problems are coming us? Some months back, we set up a kind of a R&D roadshow in IIT Mumbai. We got industry to come and talk to researchers as well. So here my appeal is basically, especially in the financial sector side, there are a lot of challenges we will see from now, especially the technology decade we talk about as India. A lot of challenges we'll be seeing. Those challenges we need to solve together. We have to respond it together, basically. At the same time, we have to also find opportunities and work together to leverage from that opportunities, basically. So this conference, we would like to see and discuss about the challenges that we have been facing as of now, and also trying to find solutions for that, but also trying to see what is going to be future for us, and see how collectively we can address those challenges, and more importantly, how can we capitalize our capabilities to leverage from opportunities that will be thrown to cybersecurity. So that's the effort that we want to put together with Financial Security Conclave, and we will be concluding tomorrow evening with this innovation box to give you a kind of glimpses of the innovation happening in cybersecurity space. There are some researchers as well. In the 2 days of time, you'll also get to see a lot of the professors coming and discussing about what they have been trying to do as a part of their work in cybersecurity space, and especially relevant to the financial sector security, basically. So this is what we will try to do in coming 2 days of all this interaction, and we like your participation, active participation in that. As I talked about, cybersecurity is a possibility. We are here for the possibility. We are here for the solving challenge, but we are more here for the possibilities for all of us together and solving that problem together. And more importantly, we also know that the incidents are happening, so the responses also needs to be coordinated, and those coordination can happen with such kind of platform that we are putting together. And for that, we are getting quite a good support from the leadership all across the country in cybersecurity space. Also, quite a good commitment and support coming from the government. Also, we are getting support from the regulators here. So we have been engaged closely with SEBI, RBI, IRDA as well. So this ecosystem is more open, and we also, yesterday we have seen that there's also, this ecosystem is also global in nature, basically. So we have US delegation coming here for this conference, basically, right? So how we can go beyond countries' borders to have very collaborated, engaged kind of interactions and those kind of partnership, basically, to solve the problem, overall security, more importantly for the financial sector security. That's what we like to see coming in these 2 days of a time. But following that, we are building team here in Mumbai and Pune as well, so that day to day they will be engaged in the challenges of this particular sector. And more importantly, we are expecting a lot of support from the state government here as well. All the leaders from the financial sector industry, and the more importantly, security experts and professionals as well. So we would like to see all those interactions and discussion happening. So we hope to see very engaging and enriching discussion, which not only help you understand, but more importantly, help us understand to take some of the position that we take at Delhi in terms of policy making. So with this, I would like to conclude, and I welcome from the team of the ACI for this Financial Security Conclave. This is an experiment we have been doing to see the response, but next year you'll see much bigger and much better, much expanded kind of a financial security conclave. So thank you all for joining today, and we hope to engage with you in the next 2 days of interaction. Thank you.